I'm Ginny Simone with NRA News,
Okay.
and we just wanted to get your reaction to,
All right.
um,
How come I didn't get an appointment? Usually every news press calls ahead of time. So why am I just, it's kind of surprising that you just come in and say, I want to see you now. Because I do try as best I can to accommodate the press.
Yeah, I'm
but
sorry.
I'm usually told ahead of time that there's a deadline, so for you to come in, I'm a little caught off guard, but I'm happy always to speak to the press.
we were just here for the event and thought we had saw these people.
Did you know you were going to be seeing me?
No, but we thought once we got here, we thought it would be good to get your reaction to the people downstairs since you're leading the charge on the microstamping bill.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Why is it that you're so determined to get this bill passed? What do you see it doing that the people downstairs don't see it doing?
What do you mean the people downstairs?
Well, the people here
I see.
from the gun owners groups.
I have been someone who is involved in preventing gun violence for over 2 decades. I am surrounded, unfortunately, by survivors of shootings, family members who have died. For example, Dion Gordon, who was just up here, whose brother was a law enforcement agent who in front of his home was shot and killed, and all that was left were 25 shell casings, a preponderance of evidence, and 2 years later they still have not caught the perpetrator. With microstamping, they would be able to have a evidence and a lead that would tie that gun back to the original gun purchaser, if you will. And at that point, the police, as they always do, would have leads, quick leads that would lead them to the criminal without even getting the gun.
But, so often we hear from engineers and people who have researched it, and just like
what?
the whole microstamping issue, and just
I
like
know only 2 people.
just like Cobus, what did Cobus do to solve any crimes?
Well, everyone tries to frame me as a Cobus supporter. I was never a Cobus supporter.
What's different about microstamping? I mean, it's so easily defaced.
It's like having an 8-track system, which was Cobus, and microstamping, which is like Blu-ray. Cobus had a database. This has no database. This Cobus relied on, example, to make sure that the gun manufacturer even did the work to fire off the shots. I happen to know, and this is going to be long, but my police department, Port Washington Police, bought semi-automatic handguns, and there were no the required 2 shell casings that was supposed to accompany each gun was not done. So obviously that gun manufacturer or dealer who had sent the gun to them never even did what was required of them, and my police took it upon themselves to fire those 2 rounds from each gun and send it to the state police. So if they're required to do it and the gun manufacturer is not doing it, how do you oversee Cobus? So people do what you inspect, not what you expect. And with microstamping, there's no way around that. They would be imprinted on the gun, and the gun would be fired, and the shell casings would have the imprinting on it.
But it's been
and
proven.
No database needed.
But it's been proven those numbers can be easily removed.
No, Mr. Kravasta has said that, but actually, even if you read his study, he, even in his very difficult and tough measurements, he claims that it's 54%. I have to tell you, 54%, if you guaranteed me election, 54% every election, I'd take those numbers. That's with him. He wanted 8 out of 8. So even if it was 7 out of 8, it was considered unsatisfactory. 54% of the time, it was satisfactory. Those are pretty good numbers from my own opponent.
But really, isn't this all about increasing the cost of firearms for the law-abiding?
Absolutely not. Actually, it should be nominal. It's based on my bill. It cannot exceed $12.
What's nominal? I mean, there's all sorts of numbers out there.
No, I don't know what the numbers. I can only tell you what my bill says. It cannot exceed $12 for the cost. In terms of, we've gone over this. I've spoken to jobbers that do this work. It is not expensive. I have to tell you, my computer right here has micro-stamped. All micro-stamping is metal stamping, much like you have in a printing press. It's on every consumer product we have. That's how we do recalls. Guns are the same. It's a consumer product. I am not looking to take away anyone's right to carry a firearm. This doesn't even touch that. If you're a law-abiding citizen, you wouldn't even know you have micro-stamping on your gun.
If it's such a good bill, why can't you get it passed?
Because the gun industry is much the way they didn't originally, car manufacturers didn't want seatbelts. They don't. What does the gun industry want? There is not a bill out there that deals with sensible gun regulations that they're in favor
Because
of.
it always targets the law-abiding. It never goes after the criminal.
I have to tell you, that is the responsibility. Look, I happen to be, I am a law-abiding citizen, but there are laws out there that affect me because sometimes the responsible people, the law-abiding people, have to give up some of their liberty to make sure for the public safety of all. So on a nominal way, and I don't even understand how they would at all be impacted. I beg to differ, but that's just, that's what laws are for. Unfortunately, there are criminals out there who will not obey the laws, but at the same token, you have to give up some sense for the greater good. And that is to protect Dion Gordon from having, and another Dion Gordon, from having her family member shot and killed and having evidence and not being able to tie it to the
But how many of these
perpetrator.
people that are involved in these crimes are repeat offenders because the system doesn't work?
Well, because we don't have technology. We just passed the DNA, expanding the DNA database, and the governor has spoken about how this is a tool to help catch criminals. Microstamping is a tool. It's all it is to help catch criminal. And if you are a law-abiding citizen, I swear to you, you will not be impacted by this.
So what's your message to those people downstairs that say lawmakers up here like yourself don't listen to them, aren't representing them?
I disagree. Back in the day when I was a town clerk, I was a hunting licensing officer for the town of North Hempstead. We issued more hunting licenses and dope permits. I went toe to toe with the ag and markets and DEC to make sure those hunters got their licenses. So it is nothing. I promise them in no way will law-abiding citizens, just criminals, should be damn worried. That's all we want to do is get rid of those damn criminals.